Welcome, everyone, to the daily Bible study written by Pastor Lancelot Knight of the former King's Chapel. We're currently in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37. And the last time we covered through verse 20. Today we're going to cover verses 21 through 28. So without further ado, let's get started. In our last study, we learned that there is something very important that our Father wants His watchmen to continually teach all their lives. And that something is who the lost tribes of the house of Israel really are. They are not the same as the house of Judah. They are two separate sticks, even two separate branches of the family tree. It is so clearly written in Yahweh's word that Judah was only one of the 12 sons of Israel, the name Yahweh gave to Jacob, so that while all Jews of the tribe of Judah are Israelites, the majority of Israelites are not Jews. I need to make a comment here. I submit that using the word Jew is misleading. In the word, the tribe of Judah was not referred to as the Jews, but rather Judahites. The word Jew did not appear in the Bible until later in the book of 2 Kings chapter 16, verse 6. Significantly, the word Yehudi was used to refer to both Judahites descending from Jacob, Israel, and to those who did not descend from Jacob, Israel, but were called Jews because they lived in the land of Judea. You see, after the two houses were removed from the land of Judea, they were carried away captive into Assyria and Babylon. You had other peoples moving into Judea, such as your Edomites, Canaanites, Hittites, etc., and they were called Jews because they resided in the land of Judea, not because they were descendants of Jacob, Israel. Most of your contemporary Jews fall into this latter category and are not descendants of Jacob, Israel. It is also clearly written and should be common knowledge among believers in Yeshua that following Solomon's reign over the whole house of Israel, all 12 tribes, that the kingdom was split into two separate houses, the northern 10 tribes retaining their name as the house of Israel, and southern Judah, along with Benjamin, becoming known as the house of Judah. Anyone who has a Bible with maps in the appendix can find a map showing these two separate houses. So how is it that so many people think that the little nation in the Middle East is the whole house of Israel? Let's just say it is a case of mistaken ID, ignorance and deception. We have read many times already in this incredible book of Ezekiel that both the house of Israel, i.e., the 10 northern tribes, and later the southern house of Judah, were to be taken captive and scattered among the nations, and so they were. Yahweh's word always comes to pass exactly as it is written. Even the early apostles knew where the 12 tribes were scattered. Have you ever noticed that the apostle James addresses his book specifically to those 12 tribes which were already scattered abroad? What postal address did he use? You should know. James 1:1, a servant of Yahweh and of Yeshua Messiah, to the 12 tribes which were scattered abroad, greetings. It seems so fitting that a millennium and a half later, Yahweh would raise up one of the kings of those tribes of Israel, bearing the same name as this apostle, and he would bring forth the written word of Yahweh to the common man. His name, of course, was King James. Did you know that the apostle Paul made it a point to tell us twice that he was not of Judah, but that he was a Benjaminite from the tribe of Benjamin? Here is Paul's writing in Romans. Romans 11:1. I say then, hath Yahweh cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. The same thing noted earlier applies here. All Benjaminites are Israelites, but not all Israelites are Benjaminites. And while both Benjaminites and Judahites are Israelites, Benjamin is not his brother. Benjamin is not his brother Judah. Here's Paul once again declaring his nationality, this time in his writing to the Philippians. Philippians 3, verse 5. Circumcised the 8th day of the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of the Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisee. Though they lost their identity as the house of Israel, it is written that Yahweh's children would be called by a new name, even his name today. They are called believers in Yeshua. We also learned in our last study that Yahweh was going to gather his lost children from among those nations and bring them into a land of their own, and so he did. Ezekiel 37, verse 21. And say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. Wherever the house of Israel resides today, you will find them in their own land. But our Father will go even one step further, and he will soon rejoin the two separate sticks of the house of Israel and the house of Judah. This will occur at Messiah's second coming, and Messiah shall forevermore be their king and their shepherd. Verse 22, And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. The house of Israel will be made whole and will once again include all 12 of the tribes. There is even a calling out from among those tribes of Israel taking place right now in this final generation in preparation for that final restoration at Messiah's coming. In fact, even now at this late hour in the day, they are being sealed in their foreheads or minds, which is to say they are being educated with the pure truth and understanding from his word. Revelation 7, verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of Israel, of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Verse 5, Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Judah is listed as one of the tribes of Israel, not as Israel itself. If you do not understand this, then you currently dwell in the spiritual Babylon, in which case the license plate on your tail reads from, quote, the state of confusion, unquote. Verse 6, Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Nephthalim were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Verse 7, Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. So, even though Judah is a separate house or stick today, all the tribes will be joined back together and restored as one house, one stick, and will be united forevermore. And when Israel and Judah are joined back together in that one stick, it will be a time not only of restoration, but of great cleansing. Yahweh's people will see their shame and idolatrous ways when Messiah returns, and they will turn to him of their own free will in great humbleness, excuse me, loathing the sins which they have committed, and they will begin pouring out their love for him and for what he has done for his children. Ezekiel 37, verse 23. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them, so shall they be my people, and I will be their mighty one. Verse 24. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. This refers to Messiah to come, the returning king and the shepherd of Israel. Jeremiah records the same thing in chapter 23 of his book. Jeremiah 23, verse 5. Behold, the days cometh, saith Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. The Messiah, the son of David, shall be given the throne of his father David. Luke 1, verse 32. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest, and Yahweh the Powerful One shall give unto him the throne of his father David. Verse 33, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Do you know who sits upon the throne of David at this present time? For it is written that David shall never want for a man, no gender implied, to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Jeremiah 33, verse 17. Her name is Queen Elizabeth. Okay, I just want to stop for a minute. We all know that this was written over 20 years ago, and Queen Elizabeth is no longer alive. She's passed away, and I believe her son Charles is now king. So he would be considered the one sitting on the present throne of the house of Israel. Okay, continuing with what Jeremiah wrote. Jeremiah 23, verse 56. In his day Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is the name whereby he shall be called Yahweh our righteousness. This is the restoration when both sticks shall be joined together under one king and one shepherd, Yahweh our righteousness. Yeshua Messiah is that one shepherd. John verse 10. I am the good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Under Messiah, the Prince of Peace, the shepherd of Israel, all of the house of Israel shall dwell safely together forever. Ezekiel 37:25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children, forever, and my servant David shall be their prince forever. This will happen during the millennium, when Yeshua Messiah has returned, and we are all changed into our spiritual bodies, and the whole house of Israel, including Judah, even from all generations, both past and present, will be united together as one happy family forever. What a glorious family reunion that will be. Lance has a little asterisk here where he put next to all generations, and that reads, note, this verse does not imply that people will be having children, but rather that they will be with their children and their grandchildren, who will be with their fathers and their forefathers. Okay, let's continue. Verse 26, moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them, and it shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. The covenant of peace is even that the Prince of Peace shall be with them in his holy place. His sanctuary shall be in the midst of his children. It is important to note that both the words everlasting and evermore are exactly the same word in Hebrew, which means eternally, which is from the beginning of time and continuing on without ending. You see, his covenant is eternal. Here is the Strong's definition. Olam, Hebrew 5769, or Olam, from Hebrew 59:56, Alam. Properly concealed, i.e., the vanishing point, generally time out of mind, past or future, i.e., practical eternity, frequent adverb, especially with prepositional prefix, always, always. Ancient time, any more continuance, eternal. Forever, everlasting, evermore, of old, everlasting, long time, old time, perpetual, at any time, beginning of the world, world without end. Compare Hebrew 53:31, Netzach, and Hebrew 57:03. The reason this is important is because it shows that it was Yahweh's purpose and his plan from the very beginning, not just from henceforth. Of course, one must understand the beginning, the first earth age, the time of spoken of by Paul in Ephesians 1, verse 4, which was before the foundation of this world, or earth age, called the world that then was by Peter in 2 Peter chapter 3. For only with that understanding can the in-depth meaning of John 3:16 be understood. John 3:16, for Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. The Greek word translated everlasting here also means eternal, which is from the beginning on without end, even before Genesis 1:1. You see, there has been no cessation of your life since your Father created your soul, which was even before the earth was brought into being. And he has an asterisk there. Even Satan, who has been sentenced to die in the lake of fire, is still alive at this present time and will be cast to this earth in the very near future. Revelation 12, verse 7 through 9. I need to stop here for a minute and make a comment. This view of eschatology is a dispensational futurist view. I differ with Lance Knight on this view of eschatology and hold to a historicist view. Most historicists hold that Satan has already been cast out of heaven, that this prophecy was fulfilled already, and that the false Messiah already sits in the temple of most believers today. But this is a subject for another day. If you want more information on the historicist viewpoint, I will leave a link in the description of this video. Let's continue. Here is the Greek word which should be translated eternally, meaning from the beginning instead of everlasting in John 3:16. Let's see if I can pronounce this. Aionios, Greek 166, from Greek 165. Ion, perpetual, also used of past time or past and future as well. Eternal, forever, everlasting, world began. Okay, here's the asterisk. Note, most people believe that the plan of Yahweh begins with Genesis 1:1 because the Bible begins there. But such is not the case, for although the heavens and the earth had a beginning at their creation in Genesis 1:1, our Father did not. Proverbs chapter 8 will document that wisdom was with our Father before he even made the earth, and his desire was to have sons or children, which he did. He then built them the most beautiful home in the universe, which we call planet Earth, and his sons, we all, sang and shouted for joy. Job 38, verse 7. Therefore, his plan began long before the earth was created. And if you would like to learn more about that time and the overall plan of Yahweh, then just send us an email and request the free booklet, The Plan of Yahweh. You'll be glad you did. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a minute and just say that you cannot find that. You cannot write to Lance anymore. He's no longer a pastor. No, his church is no longer in existence, and he's no longer offering that free booklet. But you might be able to find it online. I was thinking about doing a study on that in the near future. Okay, let's continue. Yes, Yeshua Messiah will be with his people in the sanctuary during the millennium. But eventually, even the Father will come and tabernacle with his children. Ezekiel 37, verse 27. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Yahweh, and they shall be my people. Here's the second witness as it is written in the book of Revelation. Revelation 21, verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Verse 3. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself shall be with them, and be their mighty one. And that will be the name of that great eternal city, i.e., Yahweh himself shall be with them. And it is written in the very last verse of the book of Ezekiel, which in Hebrew reads, Yahweh Sham, or Yahweh is there. Ezekiel 48, verse 35. It was round about 18,000 measures, and the name of the city from that day shall be Yahweh is there. As we have seen time after time, chapter after chapter, how all-encompassing the plan of Yahweh is to include all of his children of all races and nationalities. And I have to take issue there with what Lance says here. It's going to be not all races, but all kindreds and nationalities. It is so fitting and characteristic of our Father's love that he remembers those nations in the last verse of this chapter of the restoration of the whole house of Israel. For not just the house of Israel shall know him, but all people of all nations shall know him, shall know that he is the Almighty. He is so good to all of his children. How can anyone not love him for all that he has done? Ezekiel 37, verse 28. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Let's recap the basics of what we have learned in this study. 1. Yahweh promised he would gather his people from among the nations and bring them into their own land, where they will dwell even now. Do you know where they are? Number 2. Yahweh promised to restore both the house of Israel and the house of Judah into one stick during the millennium, and his sanctuary will be among them, even the millennial temple. And Yeshua Messiah will reign as king and shepherd over all forevermore. Part number 3. Yahweh himself will come at the end of the millennium, and he himself will tabernacle with his children forevermore. All this we have learned from the great book of Ezekiel, a book in the Old Testament. Imagine that. In our next few studies, we will preview the final scenes on the earth just before the seventh trump sounds, and then we will move on to the millennium chapters, beginning with chapter 40 to the end. Hang in there, we're getting there. Okay, this concludes the end of chapter 37 of this great book of Ezekiel. We'll pick it up next time, beginning with chapter 38. Until then, may Yahweh richly bless you.